Fresh off Saturday's gigantic win over UNLV, another big game for the Aztecs tonight. They are in Albuquerque to face the Lobos, and we're joined by Aztecs assistant coach Mark Fisher. And Coach, thanks for your time. Good talking to you.
Chris and Ben, great to talk to you guys.
Coach, where do you rank that win over UNLV? I mean, you've had so many thrillers, so many exciting games. I don't want to say they ever get old hat because they all get more exciting than the last one, but you had so many big wins last year, so many exciting ones so far this year. Does this one top them all?
You know, as far as this season goes, Chris, it's probably number one because it's a conference game. And, you know, starting the league off 1-0, especially against the team that I think is the consensus best team in the league, or at least is perceived to be, it was huge to get that win at home. And it always makes it more special, as you guys know better than most, to do it in front of that packed-out, raucous, sold-out Viejas Arena. It just makes it that much more special to do it and then look up and wave to 12,414 after you walk off the floor.
After the game, the other coach, Fisher, Steve Fisher, singled out you and Brian Dutcher for the defensive game plan against the Rebels. Talk about kind of the origin of how you came up with the strategy, going small, you know, trying to work that against a deeper lineup that you were facing on Saturday.
Well, we knew that Mike Mosier was a real threat as their power forward, and we wanted to switch his ball screens, and we were a little hesitant to do that if we were big. It's like Tim Shelton was the power forward, but we knew if Jamal was the power forward, that would be easy because Jamal could switch onto a guard and keep him in front of him. And then with regard to, you know, the general defensive game plan, is we really just tried to pack it in. We did what we called tilt our defense. Everybody, you know, in the paint, foot in the paint. We wanted to make them have to shoot jump shots over the top of us, contested jump shots. Didn't want to let them in the paint and get a lot of easy things going to the rim. And for the most part, I think we did a pretty good job.
Coach, how difficult was it for you guys to stay with that game plan throughout the game? Again, starting the four guards and a forward, because they had a big advantage on the boards, plus 10. They had 18 offensive rebounds. You guys had only 3. And normally when you get out-rebounded like that, it's hard to win. And I would think as you were watching the game unfold and Vegas was controlling the glass, that maybe you had some second thoughts of getting some more playing time for Garrett Green and Deshaun Stevens.
Yeah, great point, Chris. I think it's one of those things you just have to have your finger on the pulse of the game. And as you said, if you're giving up that many offensive rebounds, generally speaking, you want to make a change. But we just felt like we were so good once we got into the half court at instituting our game plan, and the guys were so on point that we just felt like we could live with a couple second-chance opportunities if that meant, one, getting back a little quicker in transition with the quick guards and not giving them easy baskets, and then also making sure we were perfectly spaced and tilted defensively. We just kind of felt like that we were controlling the game with the exception of the backboard, and that was one of those things we were willing to maybe give up a little bit.
Talking to Aztecs assistant coach Mark Fisher here on Extra Sports 1360. So Monday, the polls come out, and the Aztecs number 16 in the nation, both the AP and the coaches. Now, be honest, at the start of the season, I know everyone likes to think the best, and they're going to maximize their potential. Did you really think this had the possibility of being, again, a top 16 team in the country?
Man, I wish I could tell you that I for sure was on board the whole time and had no doubts. But honestly, I think the only guys who aren't shocked at all are the 15 guys in uniform. I think even the coaches, I think we knew we were going to have a group that played hard, that competed every minute, every second of every game. I just don't think we knew for sure exactly what we had, you know, with Garrett and Deshaun being new and, you know, wondering exactly how guys like Chase and James Jamal would step up, going from, quote, role players to focal points. And, you know, I think they've exceeded even our lofty expectations, which is just a testament to them. But I don't think those guys are even remotely surprised.
Mark Fisher is with us, getting set to play in Albuquerque against the New Mexico Lobos tonight. So it's nice, though, you get a big victory over UNLV, Mark, and then you get an easy breather, you know, in the next game at New Mexico. We know they've won 13 straight games. You're going into the pit. You beat them there last year. They're going to be waiting for you. I know you're not going to give us your game plan for tonight, but talk a little bit about what's going to be key against New Mexico.
Well, they're a 40% shooting team from three. That's the thing that sticks out when you look at their stat sheet. The guards really, really shoot the ball in. The best being Tony Snell, a kid who was a teammate of Kawhi Leonard's at Riverside Martin Luther King High School. So we're going to really need to locate their shooters, be aware of where they are. But the problem is you do that, and then you forget about Drew Gordon, who's the best back-to-the-basket scorer in our league, going away. I mean, it's not even close. So we're going to have to kind of mix it up. We might have to double him some to keep him off balance, maybe sometimes not go to make sure we stay with the shooters. It's going to be a very, very tall task because after their rocky 2-2 start, they've been absolutely on fire and have beaten some really good teams. So this will be a huge test. I think we got to stop them on the break. They're great winning, especially at the pit. And as I said, locate those three-point shooters and then do our best to limit Drew. But it'll be a lot of work.
You know, I've never really thought about this, but loud is loud, whether they're cheering for you or against you. Does the atmosphere at Viejas Arena give your team an advantage when you go on the road and play in a hostile environment where it's packed and it's loud because your kids are used to it?
I do think that that's a good point that I don't think a lot of people think of. I think if you have a great home crowd, I think you're used to the atmosphere. Obviously, at home, you know, they're cheering for you in one place against you at the other, but as you said, you know, when there's 17,000 people screaming, it just all sounds like noise. So our guys play in front of that kind of an environment every single home game. So when we go on the road, we don't have guys that get intimidated.
Jamal Franklin comes up with a game-winning shot. He's the newest of the Aztec heroes. You guys have had so many the last few years. Talk a little bit specifically about him, Mark, and his growth as a basketball player this year.
The thing that Jamal has that I hope people see, he's extremely intelligent, a basketball player. I know people will love to talk about some of the crazy things he does, and he sometimes does do some crazy things. But when it comes down to it, Jamal is extremely smart. He knows player tendencies. He studies film. He's a great help side defender. He has great vision, great instincts. And I think his growth since he's been with us is just honing that intelligence and using it to really make good kind of under-the-radar plays defensively. Offensively, he's always been skilled. He's always been athletic. A lot has been made about how much he's grown as a three-point shooter, and that's made him so much more dangerous because people need to run at him when he catches it at the arc. And as you saw in that last play against Vegas, he caught it at the arc. He looked at the rim. Mosier ran at him, and he got into the lane and shot that floater. Maybe a year ago, maybe they don't run at him. So, you know, his growth is helping him in all facets of the game.
How about a quick update from the training room? Jamal Franklin's ankle, Tim Shelton's ongoing knee problems, and the knee of Xavier Thames. How are they all feeling?
You know, Jamal and X were full goes today in practice, and they looked fine, and yesterday. I think X is slowly getting better every day. Jamal seemed fine. If you wouldn't have known he got hurt, I don't think you would have had a clue, you know, if you weren't watching the game. And then Tim, as you guys know, he's the guy that is a day-to-day. He practices when he can, and for the most part, we just rely on his uber intelligence to, you know, carry the day, and we save those 100-year-old knees for when we need them, and that's on game day.
That music video, though, have you seen it? It's nice, so nicely good. Done, isn't it?
Oh, my goodness. It was so good. I had him email it to me Sunday, and I sent it out to, like, every friend I have. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, the song's great. And the thing I think is so cool about it is the whole team participated. You know, I'm sure you guys could tell. It wasn't just, this is Tim's thing, let's show up and throw him a bone. They were so excited to do it with him and for him, and then the show came and showed up, and it was just such a neat thing to see how excited all of our guys were for Tim, because he really did an amazing job.
Well, the big attitude, we were talking to people in New Mexico yesterday, and the big cry for tonight is that they want to show
up the show.
They want to show up the show tonight in New Mexico. So you know that they're going to be loud. They're going to be into it. It's going to be some game again. Hopefully you guys find a way to prevail once again, Coach. Best of luck.
Thanks. And isn't it what they say, Chris and Ben, that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery? So the show should be feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
That's what the show tweeted yesterday. Good luck, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks.